Agree.
Hello, all. Welcome to the Federal. This is Kripakar. On Wednesday morning, a catastrophic flood devastated Nepal's Rasuwa district near the Tibet border. At least 8 people are confirmed dead. Over 100 Indian nationals are among 400 travelers reported missing. And entire villages have been swept away. We are speaking with Yubaraj Ghimire, a veteran journalist who has spent 3 decades covering Nepal's politics, constitutional crisis, and development challenges. Welcome to the Federal, sir.
Thank you. So,
Sir, at the outset, I want to ask you, why is it happening suddenly? What does the cloudburst actually mean?
in the morning today around 9 a.m., uh, the areas adjoining Tibet, the place is called Kirong. It the river Vortekoshi was fed with enormous volume of water uh, without much warning. It seems that a glacier burst there on the Tibet side, and the river was fed with that flood water. And along 60, at least 60-kilometer route from Tibet border to three districts in Nepal, Rasuwa, Nuakot, and Dhading, and much beyond. All entire population, entire areas, thick settlement there. There are business areas. It's a very traditional, centuries old trade route with Tibet. So heavy populated area. They were swept away. The houses were substantially damaged. We still don't have very, uh, like authentic official figure on the number of casualties, which I think could be in hundreds. But so far, only 7 deaths have been officially confirmed. The extent of the assessment of the damage is being made in terms of human loss and other damages.
Or what is like an estimated kind of damages that have been reported so far, sir?
Well, I told you like 7 deaths have been officially confirmed, but we have the reports from different areas. Custom officer there with 14 employees. Their whereabouts is not known. Bank and police areas have also not been properly connected and communicated with their head offices. And the worst part is from one of the oldest, 80-year-old school in that area called Tribhuvan Trisuli School. Out of 1,650 students, 150 have been reported safe. Others we don't know. We don't know. The search is on. There are many vehicles which have been swept away by the rivers with the like occupants inside. So we really don't know. Villages have been swept away. So it will take a while for us to know the exact loss of life.
Was this level of damage anticipated, sir?
Sorry.
Was this level of damage anticipated?
Well, it's like there are crops, they have been swept away, houses. So the government has so far released, like token relief amounts, 1 crore each to two districts and 50 lakh. But that is just a kind of, immediate relief. Rescue operation has begun. Army has taken the lead. People have been rescued. So it will take a while. Maybe like we'll get to know by this night the initial level of human loss. But that would be far below the actual loss of life and damage.
So, what makes it harder to conduct a rescue operation when compared to like plains? What being Nepal
Well,
being a mountainous region?
yes, it's a hilly area, difficult terrain, and also like very turbulent rivers. So it will basically where they have been able to locate the security personnel have been able to locate the people needing rescue and all that they would be rescued, and also it will be night time, and so people are stranded on the road. Maybe like we two people were rescued because they were spotted holding on to a tree. they have been rescued, but it will be far more difficult in the night time, which begins in an hour now. So there are many, many challenges. It's very difficult for uh, meaningful rescue, but I think the security personnel are at it.
So, what is the immediate concern for residents over the next 22 to 48 hours?
Naturally, safety, naturally, the human safety and their rescue. And then the relief and rehabilitation comes after that. But immediate rescue against the uh, adverse weather and because it will be a night time. Also, another fear is the report that we have got here is because there is a glacier which is burst, but it has taken the shape of a water reservoir in Tibet side, uh, forming a dam of 7 meter high. So what if it also, gets burst and the released to Nepal side? Obviously, that's the reverse flow from north to south. Nepal lies on the south. That the threat of immediate challenge also lies there.
A flood, an avalanche triggering a flash flood of this magnitude is rare. What does
It
this
is rare.
disaster
It is
reveal?
rare. Yeah, it is rare, and in terms of casualty, I think it is unprecedented. Unprecedented.
So, what does that actually tell about the climatic pattern shifts in Himalayan region?
Well, that's the outcome. That's the cumulative outcome of all this. But although flash floods were not very rare, but never of this scale. So there are long-term measures and uh, uh, coordinated exercises taking place at the academic level and policy formulation level. But something of this scale has happened, and at the moment the challenge is to contain the damage and save as much human lives you can.
You have covered Nepal's constitutional and political developments for decades. How will a disaster of this scale test the current and relatively new government's crisis management capacity?
Well, this is one thing is this is not the doing of this government definitely, but lack of experience and lack of preparedness. We have this office, uh, National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Committee, but that was not prepared. Definitely not prepared. It's we don't have the full and authentic information, but seems that China side had alerted about the possible, uh, attack of this nature. So this has happened, but this is not we don't have the full details yet, so I won't be able to comment on that. But there is definitely lack of experience in the government side, and perhaps it was not prepared to face this kind of situation.
And the flood has damaged the hydropower infrastructure and closed major
Yes,
highways.
it's
And what are the
itself
immediate
is a major
economic
thing.
ripples effects for Nepal this would
Yes,
cause?
yes,
Like what?
because Nepal, therefore, one of the major source of earning is hydropower business. It has caused damage to anywhere between 450 to 700 megawatt production or generation. So we don't know how much it will take for them to restart it. But if it is takes a longer time, obviously the effect it will cause on the human life and trade, our trade would be enormous.
So, how long do you think the effects of this flood is going to last? Like for the rescue operations and
Well, in 5 hours from 9:15 in the morning, it has started receding. But as I told you, the glacier there, the buildup of the dam, if it gets burst and the water gets discharged to Nepal, it will be much more damage.
and they have issued in here they have issued alert in Uttar Pradesh and other states nearby Nepal.
Well, that
So,
will
is
be
it like
that will be a natural thing because the water coming down from the place I told you. This river Botekosi joins another river Trishuli, and Trishuli joins Narayani River. Narayani joins Gandak, that is in Bihar and UP and beyond. So, but I don't know how much would be the extent of loss there. But there's possibility because this will be feeding into the rivers that flow down to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and beyond.
And do you think there is actually some people should be worried in those nearby districts or even states?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. Although the initial reports, the Chinese government has, like shown some kind of helping gesture towards Nepal, but how much would that be affected immediately? It's long term, yes, but immediately how much will that reduce the possible damage? We don't know.
And you have written extensively about development agrarian issues of Nepal's and remote regions. How do communities in areas like Rusawa typically recover from such a disaster?
Yeah, they are definitely worried because this impacts and this adversely affects the long term planning for their economic growth, their agriculture. This is agriculture season. Paddy crops and other crops have been substantially damaged. So this will also lead to food scarcity, in the coming season. So this will have a multiple impact on the life and economy and safety of the people here.
Okay, and we have received reports about like 100 Indians missing and 400 among 400 travelers who have were in the region. Is there any other further development about what happened to them?
Well, yes, this is normal. This is season, and Indians do come. And two most preferred tourist destinations have been affected. The road cut off and affected. That is Pokhara and Chitwan. Also, that this leads to Bhuktinath shrine. Although Bhuktinath is safe, but Indians prefer destination these are. And also there are other lakes called Gosai Kundi and all that. It's a Raksha Bandhan time, 2 days later. People go there for a holy deed and they may have been affected. But we, as I told you, we don't have the exact extent of loss of life and damage and where.
And lastly, sir, I wanted to ask about the outcome of it. Does it like ask us to look at the growing global warming crisis? Does these kind of accidents or like disaster reflect that there is a growing concern and we are not paying enough attention to that?
Well, no, I won't say they're not paying. They're not paying attention. There is a growing concern, but it involves both long-term planning, policy formulation, and execution. But this is also kind of problem that we have ignored. It is not only Nepal, but the global community has ignored because Nepal may not be that big contributor to global warming and the damage it may cause, but we have ignored these issues over decades, and the countries that have contributed to this global warming also need to be involved, need to be sensitive, and they need to develop humanitarian approach in this.
But it does definitely looks like it is a very huge test for the relatively new government to come out of this kind of a
Certainly,
disaster.
certainly. But it is not only government's problem, although government needs to show that it is very concerned about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time and thank you for your inputs. Thank you for joining the Federal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.